Hey y'all, I'm Chas, and I want to welcome you to Heritage Acres Homestead. Here you'll find our family as we strive to live a life that pleases the Lord. We do our very best to make the most out of what we've been given, and so we'd like to invite you to come along and join us on this journey.
Hey y'all, and welcome back to Heritage Acres Homestead. I'm Chas, and today, once this video drops, we are walking into Thanksgiving week, and I just can't hardly believe it. I mean, it is just the time, I guess as you get older, it just goes by faster and faster. And here we are already walking into Thanksgiving, and I love Thanksgiving week. Now, before I go any further with this, as you will see, yes, if you're new here, I do decorate before Thanksgiving is here. I do that as, well, I do it as a present to myself because my birthday is early November, and I really, really love having the Christmas decorations up early because that way I get to enjoy them longer. And so every year, the first week in November, I try to get them out before the 6th, which is my birthday day, and that way I can enjoy them for a bit longer. And, I've heard it my whole life. Oh my gracious, you don't like Thanksgiving, you just skip Thanksgiving. Nope, I don't skip Thanksgiving. I celebrate Thanksgiving. I love Thanksgiving, but I do it with twinkle lights. So, so that is why that is a little bit of an explanation as to why, yes, there is Christmas decorations already in my home. Plus, it just gets to be such a busy time, and I do a lot of making for Christmas. And so if my decorating is done, then I can enjoy the process of making. And it just makes me happy. And if there was no other reason, I think that's plenty reason enough to put up some more twinkle lights and Christmas decorations. That is, at least it is for me. But okay, today, the video, we're going to make very easy, quick dinner rolls. This is a go-to in our house a whole lot because oftentimes I won't prepare early enough to get my sourdough rolls ready. Or, we need something, that, I'm going to an event and I didn't realize it in time to get something prepped that was going to take hours. I can get these ready within an hour. So that's a huge bonus for real bread. It's a quick bread, and the rolls are so versatile. They make excellent little sandwiches after you've used them for your rolls that night. Make you a sandwich with them, especially if it's Thanksgiving. A little turkey, a little cranberry sauce, a little stuffing, dressing, whatever you call it. We call it dressing. Oh, yeah, it's very good. Anyways, so we're going to make these quick rolls. I'm going to show you just how easy they are. And if you have a lot of functions, or if you just need something quick for a, weeknight dinner, or if you want to bring some rolls and you're not a real seasoned bread maker, these would be great for you because you can learn how to do them easily. You do not have to have a mixer for these. You can do them by hand, or you can do them in the mixer. So we're going to get to it, and I will show you just how easy it is and actually how few ingredients it takes to make these delicious quick dinner rolls. Alrighty, so to begin, we just need a large bowl, and we need some flour. You can use all-purpose flour or plain flour is what I usually call it, or bread flour, or a mixture of the both. Or you can even use some freshly ground wheat. But for simplicity's sake, And because I know I had a lot of you who are new to bread making ask me about this recipe, we're using straight plain flour. So I always start out with 3.5 cups in a bowl. Remember, I go in and I scoop and then I shake it until it's level. So there's 3. I have to fill this back up. There's 3.5. This is not all the flour we need, but this is all the flour I'm adding to the bowl right now. Because when you're doing any kind of bread making, at least for me, I think it's really important to learn how the bread feels. And if I go ahead and add all the all the flour now, it can make a very stiff and not very light dough. I don't want a dense loaf. I want light, airy, fluffy rolls. So a lot of times your bread can be affected by the humidity, the weather, and the temperature of your home. So I always start out with less and then add as I go. So 3.5 cups of flour in my bowl. I'm adding 2 tablespoons of yeast straight to that. And again, if you've watched me make any kind of breads before, you know I buy yeast in bulk, and then I put half of it in a little Tupperware glass container in the fridge, and then I leave the rest in the bag in the freezer. So I'm just gonna mix that around. That done. Now, we're gonna go over here. In this little pot, I have warming a 1/2 cup of butter. To that butter, I'm gonna add 3 tablespoons of honey. Now let me teach you a little trick. You pour your honey straight into a dry spoon, it's not gonna come out very easily. Hang on, I gotta undo this because it's brand new honey. So if you put your honey into a dry spoon, it's gonna come out very slowly. But I just dipped this tablespoon down into the butter and then poured it out. And now, as I measure out my honey, the honey just falls straight out. Because I basically just lubricated the spoon with the butter. Now my honey just drops right out. Last drop. And to this, I'm adding a cup of milk. And we want all this just warmed. I also want 2/3 a cup of water. Now that looked cloudy because I had the milk in there already. And I poured it out and just used the same cup. We want all this to come up to a warm temperature, and that's going to be around 110 degrees or so. We do not want it to scorch, or we don't want it to be so hot that it's going to kill our yeast. Just see where we're at here. So we're at 96, so we're not hardly there yet. We want to get it a bit warmer. Well, we're jumping. Looks like we're at right at 103 now. So we're almost there. Now you do not have to use a thermometer. You just want it warm. You can put your finger in it and you feel the warmth. It's like, you know, just nice warm water. but it's not going to burn you. That's where you want. We're also going to add a teaspoon of salt right into this. Just give that a quick mix. Now I'm going to move you again before I start adding it to the flour. All right, so here's our flour and yeast. And we've got our wet. We're going to go ahead and add all of that straight into the bowl. Now I'm going to begin mixing it with my spatula. As you can see, we're still pretty wet. So I'm going to begin adding some more flour in, either a half a cup, maybe even a fourth a cup at a time. And being that this is pretty wet, I think I'll go a half. The recipe can take anywhere from like 4 to 5 cups, depending on the day. I just added a little bit of flour to the bowl, and I added some to my board. I'm gonna scrape off this spatula and get in there with clean hands. Getting every bit out of the bowl. Now this is a very quick bread. So you're gonna see, that definitely needs some more. You're gonna see that it doesn't take very long for it to come together. We just want a nice, smooth ball to allow to rise. And I'm just taking it and I'm pushing it and bringing it back to me. I know I've told you this before. If you watched any other of my videos where we've made some bread, when my daughter was little, she would say, "Mama, I think kneading bread is probably one of the best feelings in the whole world." And I agree. I don't know, there's something very soothing about it. All right, I think I'm gonna call that good. It's nice and smooth. I'm gonna add a little bit of flour underneath it. I'm gonna put it right here on my bench, and I'm gonna turn my bowl over and let it prove. It's only gonna take it, let me move down here. It's only gonna take us about 10 to 15 minutes for this to prove. You want it doubled in size. And if you don't have a good place to put it to rise like this, you can put it back in the bowl and put some saran wrap over it or a towel, whatever, just to keep the warmth inside it. So I'll be back with you in about 10 or 15 minutes. All right, let's see how they've risen. Look at there. That's easily doubled. Beautiful. Now, we're just gonna kind of plop that over there and let a little bit of that air fall out because we're gonna raise them again. I'm gonna take my bench scraper and I'm gonna come in and start cutting a roll. So I'm gonna just see, instead of flattening it all out in the ball here, I'm doing it as individuals since I'm making rolls. So I'm flattening it out and then just kind of folding it over on itself, and then coming and using my hand and against the table here, or this against my countertop, I'm just rolling it till I get a dinner roll. I'm putting that over here on my pan. I know good and well I didn't get enough for that one. There we go. Flatten, fold it up, and roll. Now you want to apply a little bit of a pressure to it so it will, so you can get that roll good on there. That's perfect. And I always place them, I probably should have gotten a smaller pan, because I always place them close together, because this is what, at least what Paul Hollywood calls a batch bake. So it's good if they touch. They kind of help each other out. All right, again, so flatten, fold it in on each other, and roll it. And you want them roughly the same size. Y'all know as well as everything that I am terrible about gauging the same size, but it's better if they are the same size-ish, because they're going to cook the same. Now, if you wanted to, you could flatten this out and punch out rolls. So we ended up with a baker's dozen. Now I'm going to find a towel, lay that over the top, and let those rise for another 10 or 15 minutes. All right, these should be risen plenty enough to bake, and they are. They're beautiful. Alrighty, so I've went ahead and preheated my oven, and I'm gonna get those in the oven, and they're gonna take about 15 to 20 minutes. Beautiful. They could have been turned during the baking, but it's okay. If you want to do that to make sure they're really even, that works. All right, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to get me a butter knife. I'm going to butter these rolls up. Come in here and I'm just gonna butter all over the tops and the seams while they're getting hot still. I'm going to give these just a minute before before I attempt to touch them and show you what they look like on the inside. I'm going to give them a minute to cool down just slightly. These rolls are so tasty that I have no doubt you're going to enjoy them, and they may even become part of your weeknight routine for a good weekday supper, or even your Sunday dinners, or maybe even your Thanksgiving table. I hope you enjoy them. I hope you will leave me a message or a comment or a like or a share, and or even the new hype, if you don't mind. But I wish you a wonderful Thanksgiving. God bless you. I hope you have the best day. Thanks for watching, and come again soon. Bye-bye.